Attorneys for Richard Allen Davis went to court today to have his case heard before a judge. ABC 7 News reporter Zach Fuentes was in court. He joins us live from our San Jose bureau with more. Zach.
Yeah, and today's hearing was for the judge to decide whether Richard Allen Davis is eligible for a resentencing. Davis was sentenced to death, like you said, but now with the event set into motion today, his attorneys are fighting for that sentence to be overturned. The kidnapping and murder of 12-year-old Polly Klaas is one that captured the world's attention. It happened in Petaluma back in 1993. She was taken at knife point from her own bedroom at a slumber party. Her body was found months later. Richard Allen Davis was eventually convicted in the case and sentenced to death 28 years ago. Polly's father, Mark Klaas, was there for the sentencing.
And I might have said something to the effect that this is finally over. Yet here we are 30 years later.
Now Davis wants a judge to overturn his sentence. He didn't appear in court on Friday, but his attorneys went before a judge. They say recent criminal justice reform law should apply to him. Legal analyst Stephen Clark has followed the case from the beginning and was in court for the most recent hearing.
Davis not only was convicted of murdering Polly Klaas, but he had enhancements for having prior prison sentences. And the California legislature has said those cannot be used any longer to implement these very lengthy sentences. So many people are being returned from prison in order to be resentenced.
Davis's attorneys say that under the new rules, his sentencing needs to be reviewed. Mark Klaas says he's been blindsided by this new possibility.
They've used a new law, a new trick to relitigate this thing, to bring it back into the public view, to bring it back into my mind. I don't think about Richard Allen Davis until something like this happened. So here we are, 30 years after the fact, and I'm having to relive my daughter's murder again. And that's just so terribly unfair.
Though the case is being heard in Santa Clara County, the DA's office in Sonoma County, where the crime was committed, is the one fighting it.
What the prosecution argued is that this legislative intent never applied to the death penalty.
Neither the prosecutor or Davis's attorneys gave statements after the Friday hearing. Though the death penalty has been put on hold in California, Clark said the decision made in the Santa Clara County courtroom could have major ripple effects moving forward.
This case is likely to go higher up on appeal to decide just how far the courts are going to go here to look at these death penalty cases under the sentencing guidelines that have now been imposed by the legislature.
Now with the case submitted, the Santa Clara County judge is going to issue his ruling on May 31st. That's when it's expected. If he decides that Richard Allen Davis is eligible for resentencing, then that resentencing would happen at a later date. Right now, live in the South Bay Bureau, Zach Fuentes, ABC 7 News.
We will stay tuned.